Hi, my name is 𝐥𝐤𝐤. I'm the founder of Blossom & Berry, and I'm an international expert on baby massage and baby yoga. Now, I decided to make this video today to tell you a little bit about my story, because I want to inspire you to achieve your dreams and to know that you can activate the goals and visions that you have for yourself and your family. So I want to take you back around 19 years ago when I set up my first business teaching baby massage and baby yoga, and how I took it from being just 3 parents and babies in my front room to now have an international teacher training organisation with over 1,000 teachers across the world, 5 international business partners, a charity, and we are impacting and serving and supporting hundreds of parents and babies every single day. Now, if I can do that, you can do that, because I knew absolutely nothing about business when I started. I had no time, I had no money, and I had no idea whatsoever what to do. So if I can do that, you can do that. And I'm here to help you achieve that by sharing with you my experiences over the last 19 years to help you to reach your full potential and your idea of success. Now, 19 years ago, I was working in a law firm in London. I'd studied for about 7 years to get there, studying at the University of Warwick and the University of Nottingham. I had turned up to a fantastic job in the city with an incredible salary, amazing prospects. I had a glamorous life where I could eat out in restaurants every night, go to bars, different events, but I was completely lonely and disconnected to my purpose. I had what I would describe as a hole in my soul, because I did not feel fulfilled. I did not feel that I was being authentically me. I was not expressing myself or my personality, and I wasn't living in alignment with my values. I had lost connection with myself because I was doing a job that I didn't like, and I felt such an imposter that I actually developed a blushing complex and had quite a lot of social anxiety because I just didn't feel like me. I didn't have connection to my colleagues because they all seemed to love the law, and so there was nowhere where I felt really like I belonged, that I was seen, heard or accepted. And I had no connection to my firm because I felt like I was a tiny little cog in a huge corporate machine, and I never seemed to be connected to the vision of the business. So as a result, I felt very lonely. I felt very on my own. I felt disconnected, and as a result, I'd say I started to develop some anxiety and maybe a little bit of mild depression. Which was very different to my natural state, which is a very playful, joyful, positive, energized person. Now, luckily for me, I was able to have a break, and I went travelling on a sabbatical for 6 weeks before I started my official journey as a corporate lawyer with my husband. We went to South America, and whilst we were there, I thought a lot on what I was doing with my life, and I realised I was really unsatisfied, really unfulfilled. I was dishonouring myself. I was making life choices that weren't in alignment with me. I didn't feel like I had any close relationships, and I felt pretty desperate and lost, to be honest. And if I'm totally honest with you now, and I've never really shared this before, I had what I would call a spiritual experience where I literally got down on my knees and I said to my higher power, or the universe, or whatever you believe is out there bigger than all of us, and I said, show me how I'm here to serve others. What is it that you want me to do? What is the calling that you would give to me? And within maybe 7 to 10 days, I found myself unexpectedly pregnant with my daughter Emily, which came as a huge shock because I was 26. I had never held a baby before in my life. I had no experience of children. All my friends all had corporate careers. I was 3 months pregnant, 3 months into my marriage, so it's pretty early on there as well. And yeah, like there was a lot of the mic dropped, and there was a lot of people like, okay. But I absolutely knew that this was the start of something incredible for me. From the moment I became pregnant, I had this inner peace, this gift that had given to me, this serenity, that this was going to be the thing that was going to change my life. And when my daughter was born, it did. the midwife put my daughter in my arms, and I know this isn't the same for everybody, but for me it was love at first sight, and my heart burst and my arms opened and I fell completely and utterly in love. And I knew that I was coming home to myself. What I was meant to do was to be a mother, and I wanted to cultivate that relationship with my daughter more than anything else in my life. I knew that I wanted to be her guide and her teacher, and I knew that I wanted to invest my time and energy into that relationship and learn from her what it was to be, a guide and a teacher and a parent. So I decided to give up my job as a lawyer in the city, much to the amazement of everybody who knew me. So I turned down the salary, the prospects, everything, all of the benefits, and I decided to go on a training course to teach baby massage. And at the time, Emily was 6 months old. I went back to work 3 days a week for 6 months to pay off my maternity leave, and during that time I studied my course. I was being a mum to Emily. I was still at work, but still I found the energy because I was in my purpose. I was activating my vision and dream, which was that I would leave my job as soon as I could and set up a baby massage business with around my family. Now, Emily was really the inspiration for this because she had very, very bad colic as a baby, and I didn't know anything about babies, let alone colic. And so I went to a class with Emily, and in that moment of going to baby massage and connecting through touch, I dropped out of my head and into my heart, and intuitively I felt empowered as a parent to be authentically me. And I knew that I'd be enough, and I knew that as long as I was true to myself and I honoured Emily's needs and I was responsive to her and I listened, and that I could make her feel safe and build a beautiful relationship, that everything was going to be okay. And it was in that simplicity of nothing, everything being stripped back and just purely being there, connected through touch, through eye contact, through talking to her, through listening to her, through just us being together, that activated my joy to be a parent. And from that moment on, I can honestly say I have never looked back. I went on to have my 2 boys as well, had 3 children in 3.5 years. So I was pregnant every year for 5 years, and that was some of the most joyful years of my life, because of the gifts that my children gave me and the simplicity of just being present wherever I was and wherever they were. We just met each other there, and we just took one day at a time. So I activated my business by going on a training course. I started very small. I taught around my children. I did childcare swaps with friends. My parents helped me out a little bit. I did work at weekends. I did a little bit of work in the evenings. I continued to study. I took my baby yoga course. I did children's yoga, toddler yoga. I became a hypnotherapist, a doula. My desire to learn more and more about parent and baby wellness just deepened and deepened until, I really felt like I'd become an expert. And my mantra along the way was always love creates love. Love yourself as a parent. You have a greater capacity to love your children. Your children will understand the world as a loving, kind, compassionate place, and they will go out into the world and embody that and create those relationships with their peers and their families. And this is how we change the world, one baby at a time. So I had this deep connection to baby massage and yoga as so much more than just a baby class. But actually as a way of life, a way of thinking, a mindset, something you could embody every day, that this joyful existence could actually also go out into other areas of your life, into other relationships, and give you that lightness, that playfulness, which I think we all have inside, but somewhere along the way gets a little bit lost, or we abandon ourselves and we don't honour who we really are. So from that space of teaching for quite a few years, and there were challenges because, as I said, I had 3 kids under 3.5. I used to, study at night, used to work around my children. I had to be really disciplined with my time, but I did it because it meant something to me, and I had this vision that I could impact more parents and babies across the world. So I knew that I could only probably teach about 100 parents and babies a year in my local practice. So I decided to set up my own training company, Blossom and Berry, to train other teachers who to go out and then teach parents. And in this way, I imagined a ripple effect, a kind of love explosion of all of these wonderful principles of love and presence and acceptance and safety and trust being amplified through teachers being their own kind of beautiful across the world. And so very slowly in the evenings, I started to write training courses. I knew that a lot of people wanted to train, but they couldn't come in person because they had young children. So I thought my training needs to be flexible. So I developed a distance learning package. I used to send out training folders in the post. People used to used to mail me back their work, and I would mark it and send it back to them. It was incredibly basic because there was no technology, no smartphones or anything. And I used to have just a few people just coming a year, maybe like 6 or 7 people coming a year. And then on year, I just kept showing up, consistent and persistent, still doing it. Managed to get myself a website, started to get a smartphone, things started to expand and feel good. And I started to see more and more teachers coming into my life, more and more amazing connections that were truly in alignment with me. And every teacher would bring me something that I could learn from, an opportunity to expand and grow. And some of my teachers became my trainers, who then started to expand Blossom and Berry so that we had a branch in Mexico. And I went to Mexico City with one of my teachers, Sandy, and we set up a branch there, which was an incredible experience. And now we have all of our courses in Spanish. I went to Dubai and met Mel, one of my teachers, who then set up our Middle Eastern branch. And I went to Australia to meet Amy, who did the same, and also Christina in Italy. So our Blossom and Berry started to literally blossom and grow as I started to believe in myself and realize that I had the power to pass on this really simple message that touch and love and connection and bonding is the most important thing to all relationships. It is the foundation of mental health, and mental health starts in infancy, in the first 1001 days, and what happens to us during this critical time creates a blueprint in our brains that we carry around with us for the rest of our lives. And it can be really hard to change those early childhood experiences. So I wanted it to make sure that all humans have the most enriching, loving, connected relationships in those early years, because this is how we can actually protect mental health and create a more peaceful, loving world. So I just literally started to take all of my training online, as did my business partners. I travelled the world, met incredible people, teachers, numbers of teachers were going up from 100, 500, then we went to 1,000, we're past the 1,000 now. And then finally in 2014, I decided I really wanted to give back for all of this incredible love and experience. And so I went to Malawi and set up our Mother and Infant Health Initiative charitable project there, where we help the most vulnerable parents and babies in poverty with things like infant mental health training, infant massage, safe motherhood education, menstrual health hygiene, and many other crisis aid projects around small, young, vulnerable babies and also vulnerable families in poverty. So I was able to activate that and also give back by training staff in orphanages how to work with the most kind of isolated and disconnected babies. And we've spread this project also to Ghana, and we hope to take it to other areas in the world as well. So it's been incredible. And so what I wanted to share with you from this is that I was just a girl 19 years ago with a life that wasn't in alignment with how I wanted it to be, with a life that wasn't giving me joy, with a life where I felt disconnected to myself, others, and my purpose. I had a hole in my soul, and that disconnection to my purpose meant that I felt alone, and it meant that I didn't feel energized or excited about life. And then I took a step, a risk, an opportunity, if you like, to trust myself and honour that this is what I wanted to do. This is how I could be of service in the world. how could I activate my most highest values in the world? Freedom, love, connection, joy, playfulness. How could I create impact every single day? And for me, it was to take that very first step into the unknown, to go and train to be a baby massage yoga teacher. Now, I could never have known ever that my life would turn out this way. All I knew was how to take the first step. All I knew was how to surrender to my higher purpose and power. All I knew was to just keep showing up without expectation, to take the challenges, to take the knockbacks, to work it round, not always ideal situations, but just keep showing up, consistent and persistent, working towards that vision. And as a result, I am so grateful every single day for the lifestyle that I have, the freedom I have with my family, the time I get to spend with my children and other people that I love, for the income that I generate, for the money that I'm able to give back to my charity, and to be living a life fully in alignment. Now, none of that would have happened if I hadn't have taken the first step. And the first step is the hardest one to take. It's the step into the dark. You can't see the way, and that's scary, and our brains want to keep us safe, and so that we get lots of messages: don't do that, you'll fail, what will somebody else think, what if this, what. We know these voices that are in our head. But what is so important, and what I want to share with you, is the importance of honoring yourself and tuning into your heart, because you're only going to have, a short trip, as much as we know, on this planet. We don't know how much time we have. We don't know what's out there after this life that we're in now. And so a life well lived is a life lived in alignment, a life honouring yourself and your values, a life creating the lifestyle that you want for your family, and to spend your time and energy on things that have meaning and that matter to you, that reflect your passion and your purpose. And so if you feel that working with parents and babies is your passion and purpose, I am here to help to support you on your journey. I am the person who I wish that I had all the way back then, 19 years ago, when I first started to train. I'm your business best friend, I'm your mentor, I'm your cheerleader. I'm here to support and help you. And as part of our training, the mentorship, community and support is probably the most valuable and the most priceless aspects of the whole thing, because a certificate is a certificate. But to succeed in life, it's about connection. It's about growth. It's about being seen, understood, developing trust, authentic relationships, feeling safe to be yourself and to try things out. And that's what Blossom and Berry really offers and excels at. And that's what we are all about. So if you've listened to this video and it's resonated with you, take this as a sign that now is always the time. There's only now that we have. Don't be afraid. Spend some time connecting with your heart. Come out of your head. Envisage where you want to be in your life in the next year, 3 years, 5 years. Let go of what doesn't serve you anymore. Sit with any resistance that's coming up, any fears, and then have the courage to take the first step on the path, even though you might not know the way, because I am here to hold your hand. If you've got any questions about anything to do with our training, you can book a call with me at any time. I'm here for you. I'd love to help you to activate your dream.